My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was born in 39 and kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 1941, brought to Moulton, Alabama, Lawrence County, which is probably, I thought it was about 45 miles from Huntsville, Alabama. I'm speaking for a reason here. NASA began to be full blown in early 50s, and my hostage money went for treaties, illegal treaties, getting scientists over here to help to keep me alive in different ways, not just money over the board. My father's Edward VIII, and very decent man. That's the reason he was taken down. He was married to Georgia O'Keeffe. That's my aunt, the artist. Um, Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe. History won't tell you that. The Illuminati helped kidnap me, and my Uncle George helped in my kidnapping. Roosevelt appointed Joe Kennedy, which is why JFK assassination was covered up by the Warren House. Mind control was using that, but it was because of my kidnapping and the illegal takedown of my father, the forced abdication, that had a 99-year seal put on that to cover up the crimes and my birth. I'm Victoria II, heir to the British Crown. This is the woman, Bowes, Elizabeth Bowes, which is George the illegal sixth wife. She's kin to the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, the Illuminati, the New World Order, Freemason, the ones that kidnapped me and orchestrated all this from way back. And Elizabeth, the illegal monarch who's spending my money and gave away Great Britain, signed illegal treaties they did. So I want to put this here because I want to read something I've been putting on YouTube, and I'm living in hell having laws broken against me that I don't know how I can live. I'm almost 76 years old anyway. But I've told about mind control murders, and I pretty much put it on the videos and on Facebook. I've gone to the media only to find out the media knew about my kidnapping from way back then. So I wrote a book about mind control, MD, a license to kill, in 76 till they put antifreeze in me April Fool Day of 80. And I realized that this is redundant starting out on the video because I have to give you some kind of data to get you to know where I'm trying to go and tell you. The book was about Larry McDonald, U.S. Congressman from Atlanta, and urologist at Piedmont Hospital. I was writing about murders that happened there, Warren and Rosina Matthews, forensic pathologist, and things that I understand now go back to the Tesla files that were stolen. You can create an illness or you can cure it. Imagine what that would do to the pharmaceuticals, to the hospitals, to all of that, the medical profession. But it was programming, putting chips in people. One of the doctors I worked for, I found out, had a cardiovascular. It was a person who was head of a corporation. You can control their thought process. You can control their decision making, and it's the person doing the programming or the agency's decision that's made, not that person who's chairman of the board or president or monarch or whatever. So all this should be addressed rather than putting it off to mental illness, which is a total lie, which is what they're doing. This is James Holmes. Everybody should be ashamed for letting that happen. He's a victim just like the people that died. At Century 16, and this, without trying to get to all this, another one I wanted to say before I get to the real reason I'm putting this up, the point. By the way, my father never married Wallace Simpson. I hope I said that. That was a double that married her, and the whole thing a lie. And that's thus the 99 year seal. This is Gabby Gifford, and these mind control murders that I speak of were deliberately done in patterns and can be proven. This is a photo of me a long time ago, the Victoria II. This is Mark, heir to the crown after me, and then Scott. Used to call him Scotty. And this is Gabby Gifford, who ran for Congress. She was a congresswoman. I only ran for Congress to replace the Dr. Larry McDonald when the plane went down in '83. The passenger plane, KAL, was shot down. Gabby Gifford is married to astronaut. And remember I mentioned Huntsville and NASA, close to where they put me in Lawrence County. This is Mark, and he's a twin to Scott Kelly. Remember, I said they gave me the name of a twin when they brought me to Moulton, Alabama. But these patterns go on a lot more than that. So before I run out of time, I just want to, on the video, and have to start giving background again. This is Larry Flynn. I was flown out there during that campaign to replace Larry McDonald. He even says here that I knew who was responsible back in Atlanta for his shooting. This was in April of '84, the issue. The thing I want to get to here is while I was at, if I can get it on here, at Flint's twice in October of '83, I found out about my kidnapping and my real name in late '83, early '84. And Flint was shot. He was brought to Lawrenceville, Georgia, about 45 miles from where I was living in Marietta. I was living at Moonraker Apartments. The title of my book was MD: A License to Kill. And I've put on here, I had a letter from the FBI, national security involved, and all this, so I've put that on here. While I was at Flint's, he, in essence, told me what was going to happen, some things that were going to happen, and they have. For whoever is sitting in the wheelchair, if it's really Mr. Flint, and I thought it was, or not. And I don't mean to get him in trouble at all. At least he tried to help where everybody else seems to have tried to kill me. But he was here in Roanoke. I was living on the Appalachian Trail here in Troutville, Roanoke, freezing, starving. It's been a hell of a life with people watching it and just wanting me dead wouldn't help. In fact, it was the other way around. But he, in essence, he ended up here, and he had shown me that parody about the toilet and Jerry Falwell. And so he ends up in court here in the Falwell and all that. And he had a parole officer assigned to him, a federal one, in the Poff building. ENNIS was his name. Later, when I'm living in the forest here, this is a few years later, ENNIS, they've arrested me for living in the national forest. You don't get the background, who I am. My jobs are shut down. My shelter, if I go to a shelter, it's like I was a bag lady walking on the side of the road being made to look nuts, which this is what it's all about. Too, MK Ultra, all of it, FBI. But Mr. Flint, later, I just want to put this in. ENNIS was his parole officer. I ended up in court, and they charged me with living in the national forest. Well, the judge at that time, federal judge, told ENNIS, that's his name, the parole officer, same one it was with Flint. He took me in a room, federal room, and he went through all this pretending to try to get me a place at the shelters, and then I was turned out on the street. And I ended up in New York, Albany, Troy. So that's a whole nother how I got there and all this and what happened to me there. What I wanted to say, though, was that in the mind control murders, I told back then that ENNIS Cosby, Cosby's son, was murdered with mind control and done in patterns. He was a Russian immigrant was supposed to have shot him there on the ramp when ENNIS Cosby's car broke down out of Los Angeles. Now then, Cosby is accused of rape, and I don't know. It would seem to be. Now, whether true, but whether, look what they've done to me and look what they did to my father. So I don't know. I know that his son, it was mind control used. And I know that they're saying now that a former NBC colleague that worked there named Scott, Sottti,